Thank you very much. I bring you greetings from the great state of Texas and say that I'm very pleased to be here with so many great NAACPers. And to begin with, I will apologize for my attire. I just drove in and the room's not quite ready, so I came on over and found out I was on the program. So just glad to be here because we're here for the right reasons. I want to say that it's extremely important that we all be here because of the changes that are going on in our nation. Right around our very eyes. And indeed, we, the people in this room, are going to be crucial in terms of where we go in the future, what kind of nation we actually have 50 years from now or 100 years from now. It's extremely important that we understand that we're at a watershed period in our nation's history. This past week, I went to the United States Supreme Court for the arguments in the Shelby County voting rights case. And right before our eyes, we see that Section 5 is an extremely important element that has led us to where we are. And one of the reasons why we have elected officials in many areas around the country that we did not have before. Dr. King marched in Shreveport in the 1960s. Indeed, we were fighting for those kinds of things that we have today. But there are people who really want to take that away. And when we went to the Supreme Court last week for the arguments, I'm going there like any other American citizen with a number of NAACPers. I'm there with a number of members of the Supreme Court Bar, and I'm listening to arguments, and I'm thinking that indeed we're going to have a professional argument. I may not like what one side says, but it's going to be upright and professional. And while we're sitting there, a justice of the United States Supreme Court, Antonio Scalia, makes a comment that was highly offensive to me.
Yeah.
And that is that what he said, was that our voting rights equate to a racial entitlement.
Lord have mercy.
And what he said, he didn't say that they become a racial entitlement. He indicated from their origin, from their source, they were a racial entitlement. So I tell you that that is not the way a Supreme Court justice is supposed to speak.
But he did.
Completely inappropriate for him to engage us that way. And then the Chief Justice engages. And the Chief Justice comes up with statistics that are completely wrong and that are bogus. And to suggest that black people in Mississippi have it better than black people in Massachusetts. And I'm thinking, I don't believe that I'm hearing this and that. And you know, right now I think it's very obvious to us in that room that at most we're going to get a 5-4 decision unless it seems as though there are 5 votes and the Chief Justice wants to assign the person the right to the majority. But you know, this is a case where this political activism, that's this anti-black activism around the country, has reached into the Supreme Court.
Oh man, I mean, that's dangerous.
You know, when we look at the facts of this case, the 14th Amendment, the origin for the Voting Rights Act, not just the 15th, but it's really the 14th. And it says clearly that Congress can implement this amendment by appropriate legislation. So the United States Congress had hearings. They had hundreds of witnesses. They have 1,000 pages of data. Testimony from experts that talk about the continued need for voting rights problems. I know we submitted a report about all the continuing problems that we have in Texas. So we know, all of us who work the elections, I think we all know that there are still problems. There are still problems. But, and so Congress clearly has the authority to do what they did. There was enough factual information to support what Congress did. However, this case is before the Supreme Court, and we might lose. But you know, one of the things that Justice Sotomayor indicated that was so significant during the discussion was she looked at the counsel for Shelby County and said, well, you know, I look at the history of your county, and there are 2,000 questionable violations of things that you've done since the implementation of the Voting Rights Act. So I don't think you're the one to bring this case to us. But the odd thing is that we may have one of the worst violators to bring a case to eliminate the Voting Rights Act. And let me say, my friends, that if that happens, we don't really know what's in the horizon, what is beyond that.